Hashem, Rabbi Isai, we're beginning a new series, a foundational series called Loving and Feeling Loved. To love and feel loved. It's something that so many people feel that they kind of need right now in the world. To love and feel loved. And it's a series on how this is a constant mitzvah. That there's a constant mitzvah, the fourth of the constant mitzvahs, which we've been working on together, which is the mitzvah of loving God and feeling God's love for us. And you're going to see that it's a tremendous topic. It's going to be very, very deep, very emotional. It's very filled with emotion. So if we get all emotional in here, of some group emotion therapy, then Baruch Hashem. That's what we're getting ready for. Now, I want to begin by asking people, so it's a bit of a word that's been abused and used in not the right ways, but what does the Olam say? What's love? What's love? And we have to define our terms because love is a mitzvah. The Torah says that we are to love God. So we're going to have to define that because every single mitzvah has some level of definition. Because how do I do the mitzvah? How do I do it if I don't know what it is? So you have to love God. Well, what's love? So what do you guys say?
The pleasure in helping cultivate someone's goodness.
So nice. The pleasure in helping to cultivate someone's goodness. Okay, I like that. I like that. Any other? Let's hear it. Rabbi Isai, love.
Showing compassion to someone else.
Showing compassion.
And a two-way street. Both ways.
I show compassion to them, they show compassion to me. Why do I want to show them compassion? More of them. Avery, what's love?
I guess there's two definitions. One definition is finding the good in someone, which I think David already said that. Another one is doing the actions for someone else.
Okay, you guys are already advanced, so you guys are on the right track here. Any other love definitions? Yeah.
I was going to say it depends who, loving someone or yourself.
Okay, very good.
Or food.
So I could tell you that, you ever heard somebody, I love hamburgers. I love them. Like what foods do you love? I love this recipe. I love it. Does that fit into anything that we just said? Showing compassion. I love this hamburger. I love it. I love this baseball mitt. It's my childhood mitt. I love it. I love that willow tree. I swing under it. I love it. Yeah.
No, I'd say that you don't really love food or love the baseball mitt or swing. Really just love yourself, indulging in whatever that is.
Oh, so the Bali Musar famously said an analogy. And they said that there was a person who, we'll call him Ruvain, and Ruvain met Shimon. And Shimon said to Ruvain, Ruvain, I love fish. I love fish. You can come over later. And I'll show you. So Ruvain was very excited because he expected to come and see like the most beautiful aquarium in his house. And to see like these coral reefs and him like feeding the fish and taking care of the fish. All of a sudden he walks into the house and he sees Shimon. And he takes a fish with his bare hands and he smacks it down. He chops off his head. And he's frying it up in a pan, and he's putting it down the what do they call this? Gullet. Thank you. Down the gullet, and he's like, Shimon, I thought you love fish. It's like, I do. It's like, no, you don't. You love yourself. So we generally think that love means selfish. I love myself, so I enjoy and love eating fish because it makes me happy. We're going to go on quite a journey right now into love, the mitzvah of loving God, where the love that we're going to describe is essentially being so captivated by the presence of another, whether it be your wife, your child, your chavrusa, your friend, your husband, whatever. And that love, you're so amazed by how amazing they are, like Avery was saying, and how awesome they are, because you're focused so much on their great points, that the captiveness that you are in their presence makes you just want to give to them and be in their presence and be close to them. So the love captivates you. The feelings of how great they are captivate you. I want this relationship. I want to build this relationship. I want to know you and be close to you. And I enjoy this so much. And I see how special you are. I want to give to you. Okay, that's going to be the general journey that we're going to be going on. Which means if it's talking about God, it must mean that love of God is only going to be possible if we first have an understanding of who God is. Which a lot of that, by the way, we did when we spoke about the mitzvahs of Emunah. The mitzvah of not having any other gods. Because you have to have some context. So who is this God that I love? And also the mitzvah of Yichud Hashem, knowing God's total oneness. That we can become so absorbed with God and His awesomeness that we just go into such, the way that the Rambam describes it, like you go crazy, like you're in love, like a man is meshugana, he's crazy, he's lovesick. We have such a language. He's lovesick. That all he can do is think about the one that he loves. You know, a person who's in love, he meets a girl, and he's just, and the more the time that he spends with her, she's amazing. She's sophisticated and funny, and they get along so nicely. And the more time he spends, he just sees how amazing she is and so special, and her talents, and just, he can't believe it. Such a special person. So everything, he's walking around, like everything reminds him of her. Oh, that song on the jukebox, if you guys don't even know what that is anymore. The Spotify box. What? Oh, that's our song. And the way that the trees are moving in the wind, that's like her hair. And the way that the dove is flowing, that's like the white of her eyes. And that blue jay is like the blue color of her eye. Everything's... And his buddy's like, you're crazy, man. It's a bird. It's not an eye. No, you don't understand. Oh, just it like flies so high. Like she just makes me fly. And she's amazing. It's amazing that he's so, that we can get to that way in a very down-to-earth way with God. And the more that we can become captivated by God, we're going to see that you will develop this sense of excitement and love, which is with you constantly. And you could tell a person who's in love with God. You could see the way that they live. You could see that they always have like a you know, what do they call it? A beat in their step. They're all the time in this zone. We want that. We want that. It beats the alternative, like guys are just dragging their feet, you know, through life. How you doing, bro? Getting by. How you doing? Are you okay? Surviving. Could be better. Could be worse, you know. Yeah. I'm okay, you know. Inflation. It's getting me. Yeah. Pick yourself up, man. Oh, I don't know, you know. So that man, he's not with God. So we want to have that life of being in love with God. Okay, my friends? It'd be a good thing to be able to bring a chumash. So I'm now going to direct you guys to, it's a good thing to look this up. Everything, the sources that I give you, very good thing to look them up. So we're in Devarim. Devarim is, like they say, Deuteronomy. Vav. Oh. Vav, excuse me. Yeah, Perek Vav, which means chapter 6. And Pasuk Hey. So Deuteronomy 6:5. Okay? Now do you know what this is speaking about? 6:4 is probably the most famous verse in the entire Torah? Any guesses?
You should love your God. I thought you were
So, Shema. So Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, which is also giving us definition of the mitzvah of God's oneness, that God is totally one and how deep that goes. And once you start getting involved in that, you start appreciating just how awesome God is. And then right away, Ve'ahavta Eis Hashem Elokecha, and you shall love God. B'chol levavcha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha. We're going to spend a lot of time on these words. You should love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your me'odecha. Okay, let's break that down. First of all, any questions just on this verse? That's the verse. This is the main source of the loving of God, is this verse. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, with all your soul, and with all your me'odecha. With all your me'od. We'll see what that means. Questions so far? No? Avery, there's a startling question.
Hearts.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Wait a second. I was looking for a marker. And I was also just excited to get up. Me'odecha, levavcha. How do you say heart in Hebrew? Your lev. How do you say heart? Levav? One heart. Not levav?
No.
A lamed and a beis, right? So you don't spell heart a lamed beis beis? Why not? Because that's not how you spell singular heart. You say heart with one beis. Lev. So when the Torah says you should love God with all your heart, why is it saying it in the plural? The Torah is saying you should love God with all your hearts. How many hearts do you have? I mean your right ventricle and your left ventricle? Well, by the way, we'll see. That's not far off. But what is it talking about? Now, okay. So before that, did what God has a hard time with grammar?
What does it mean, love your God with your heart? Your heart can't love. It's your brain that can only have emotion.
Well, okay. We associate, we'll see, this is a larger discussion. The heart is the seat, a spiritual seat of emotion, the spiritual seat of passion. The brain is associated with cognition, with right and wrong. The heart has a certain intuition, has feeling. Again, it's not the physical fibers of your heart, right? We're talking about it metaphorically, that the heart is the seat of feeling, of emotion. So what are my hearts? How do I have my hearts loving God? Any ideas? Okay, so Michael said what?
Your evil inclination when you're in the good and when you're in the bad.
So how do I love God when I'm in the bad? When I'm my evil inclination?
Understand that it's for the best.
Okay, so we're going to have to delve into that. I'll tell you what the Gemara says. The Gemara, first of all, says, B'shnei yitzrecha, b'chol levavcha, the Gemara in Brachos, on Nun Dalet Amud Aleph, 54a. These are all good things to look up, because when you see the Gemara's inside. The Gemara says you should love God with all your hearts, with both your Yetzer Tov and your Yetzer Hara. How do you love God with your Yetzer Hara? I thought my Yetzer Hara tries to take me away from loving God.
So when it's silent, it's loving God. It's not taking away from God.
Okay, so that's one explanation. Is that you love God with your Yetzer Tov, with your good inclination, i.e., when your heart is on fire for God, when you daven with excitement, and you're moving towards God. Remember, we said that our love that we're talking about is the appreciation of the greatness of God and then wanting to have that relationship. And your heart's on fire, just like the guy's excited about getting married to this person. His heart's on fire for this relationship, and I want to know you, I want to be close to you, I want to do great things together. Let's build something beautiful and in a healthy way with all the right boundary, everything. So how does he serve God with his evil inclination? So the simple meaning would be, when he subdues his evil inclination, he's serving God with it, because he's not actualizing his evil inclination. Let's use an analogy of people. So let's say somebody wants to get married. And he really is excited about this. So how would he serve God with his good inclination? The excitement and the build-up getting to the marriage. How would he serve God with his evil inclination? By not letting him and his fiancée have premarital something. Even though he wants to, and I'm so excited, but he holds things back. By the way, I'll just tell you an interesting Gemara in Tosfos. Anybody know when we eat matzah? Pardon? On Pesach we eat matzah. If you come to my house, it seems like we eat matzah the entire year. We're always having matzah. Except there is a day, we happen to do it not for a month, bli neder, but there is a day that actually no one's allowed to eat matzah. The day before Pesach. No, I don't mean like Yom Kippur and fast days. I mean the days that you could eat food, but not matzah. There's only one. The day before. Some people actually extend that all of Nisan. Some people extend it even to Purim, not to have matzah. Do you know why?
To have a definition between the days of having matzah is irrespective.
So the analogy that's given is respect I like is that when you have something too often, you're not as excited about it. That the night of Passover is such a deep bond that's going to happen between you and God. And the matzah is like the substance of the intimacy. When a person's eating matzah, also eating is a very sensual thing. Eating is always associated with intimacy. That's why eating, you have to be careful. When you eat with people, it's a setting of intimacy. So Passover is the time there's going to be a tremendous intimacy. But not the day before. So the way that it's described, Tosfos says, a person who eats matzah the day before Passover, it's like a person who's like a person who's engaged to a woman, and they're about to get married the next day. And it used to be in those days that the groom would stay in the home of the bride, but in the father's home, his future father-in-law. So he would stay in the home, and the day before the wedding, he couldn't hold himself back, and he has relations. You couldn't wait till the next day. You were getting married the next day. So eating matzah like right before whoa, just why couldn't you hold back? You're ruining so much with that. The holiness. So a person who doesn't do that, he's serving Hashem even with his Yetzer Hara. That is one explanation. B'chol levavcha. We're going to spend more time with this. I'm going to give you more definitions of this. B'chol levavcha. Okay? B'chol nafshecha. So you should love God with both your Yetzer Tov and your Yetzer Hara. You should also love God b'chol nafshecha. What does that mean, b'chol nafshecha? What does that mean with all your soul? So the way the Gemara describes it, your soul means even if your life is on the line, and you have to give up your life for God, which we call Jewish martyrdom. This is called the big three. What are the big three mitzvahs that a person has to give up his life for? Idolatry, adultery, and murder. Beautiful. Which means if somebody says to, not you, we hope we don't have to go through these tests. If somebody says to somebody, he says, Shimon, kill that person or I'll kill you. So Shimon has to say, this is the moment that Hashem said that my love for you is even greater than my life. My love for doing your will is even greater than my physical body. Even if it comes to that my love for you is even greater than my physical body. However, every other place in the Torah, We don't say that. Somebody says, oh, so eat the cheeseburger, or he's going to be killed. So he eats the cheeseburger. There are technical details in this. At times it's called shasa shmad, if it's times when there's major persecutions, that even maybe other things. But generally we say only those areas. And then the third one. We're going to go into each of these much more in depth. The third one is bechol me'odecha. Me'odecha seemingly means all your money. To be willing to give up all your money, not to transgress. Now, hold on. If I have to give up my life not to break, and meaning I have to love God more than my life, why does the Torah have to say, oh, and your money? Wouldn't I know if I have to give up my life? You have to give up your money, sure.
Some people value money.
Because there's actually some people that would give up their life to save their money. They give up their life to save their money. They value their money more than their life. Ad kadei kach, the Torah has to say, bechol me'odecha. If you're one of those guys, we hope there's not many, but even that guy, people jumped out of buildings during the Depression and other times because their stocks went down. The building will kill you. It's just money. Sadly, there are those people that their love of money is so strong that Hashem is saying, if somebody tells you that you have to give up all your money not to transgress Shabbos or something, you have to be willing to give all the money away. The Torah needs to point that out, that a person shouldn't get confused on that. So we hope that the people that with all your life, meaning a person loves God, the will of God more than everything. Now, we are opening up a major topic here. Major. These sugyas, this topic of loving God is mega. What's going to be the payoff? You're going to live a life, constant happiness, constant bliss, happiness, being in love. To love and feel loved. We should be Zoicha Mamish, to live a life of that love, to feel that love. Here we go, rabbis say. We're going down the rabbit hole of love. Looking for the Mamish to greet Mashiach Tzidkenu Meher V'Minu. Amen. Kol Tuv. A wonderful Zman. Good Chodesh.